What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live stream here. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Happy Monday, May 12th. Let's get into it. Make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all your money. Read the general disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, bookmap, code RDF. Let's jump onto the charts and see what we got going on. Wild ride to start today. I know you guys are looking at the $19.40 across my 350K straight to funded with Top 1 Futures here. That was from a fat finger this morning, believe it or not. Was marking my chart up, came over here to the side as I often double click on this chart here, and I had my cursor too far over, double clicked quickly, got myself in and out of two trades this morning very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and drop out to the daily here. Start with the normal chart markup, same boring stuff that you see me doing every day. Oh, I'm a little bit high on this. There we go. Now we can see what we're looking at here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, I forgot a link in the chat. Good morning, chat. Good morning, chat. Before we even get started on this markup here, make sure you guys got the main link to Top 1 Futures. Talking about these guys in a little bit here, as always. Awesome. Let's jump onto the chart here. Okay, bookmap over on the side. Yeah, going to grab some liquidity down to 825s, 820s. We'll look at that in a minute. But starting on the daily, right? Why? We can see what happened really, really clearly overnight here, right? We know what happened the last couple weeks. We've been pushing up, kind of consolidated around this, kind of choppy back and forth NYSE session through last week. We had some news come out of the Trump administration. Geopolitics are really having a massive impact on these markets these days. We had a massive gap up. I think anybody with half a brain could have guessed that one. I tweeted who's ready for the gap last night right before the open. Big gap up, and then another big candle print in pre-market on news that U.S. and China are agreeing to, something to do with tariffs. As you guys know, that's pretty much how I pay attention to news. I don't try to interpret it too clearly, but if you're wondering why some of this stuff is going on, there's a lot of volatility that is based around that, tariff deal with the Trump administration. But outside of that, looking at this from a technical perspective, which I'd like to do, it's about as technical, as fundamental as I like to go. No news events coming up today. No high impact, medium impact news events. What we're looking at, gap up and a big daily candle forming, pushing to the upside, cracking above this level over here, cracking above the 58, 40s, 30s, right? All the way up to test. The high of today is here on the ES futures contract, 58.65 and 3/4. So big push to the upside. Now, we've failed to continue to push in pre-market. We're kind of selling off a little bit into the open here. So as we start to drop down onto the lower time frames, yeah, you can see that 15-minute candle pulling all the way back to VWAP. Before we jump right into it, you can take a look at last week's volume profile, right? This is where I get my levels from. Starting my chart markup on Monday, prior week value area high, prior week volume point of control down here at 56.85-ish. Value area low. We can see Friday's volume profile really, really small and tight compared to what we're seeing today with this huge push to the upside. As we zoom in, obviously you can see the the physical gap up and the just the traditional gap up in price. Prior day's high being all the way down here. We are opening up considerably above that. Right here's Friday's high, Friday's low. The volume profile from Friday in here. Big push up overnight. So, jumping down all the way to the 1 minute to start to frame some trades, taking a look at what we might be looking at for trading opportunities. Zooming out so we can see everything on the chart. Have volume tools reset. Yeah, so far 820s. Yeah, man, I like this thing for a bounce off of VWAP. I want to let it open up, right? 9:38, 9:39 a.m. Eastern. We're getting past the 9:30 a.m. NYSE open. I do like to let the market open up, kind of chill out for a little bit. I could definitely see jumping in for a long here, right? Obviously, the bias is to the upside today. I try not to carry too much of that, but we were opening up again above prior day high, gap up above VWAP, coming back to retest that. We have liquidity right down here at the 820s. I'm going to show you real quick. So I might try something really aggressive this morning, just as a first trade. We have 820s, about 159, 160 on the book down there. It stays pretty thick all the way down to 5,800. So we could see a pretty decent, retracement, right? This could turn into a really, really big wick to the upside, pull back down. I don't know that we get that right off the bat. There's quite a bit of liquidity to the upside. We have broken to the upside with some force. But so far, we are selling off into this open. I'm tempted to look for a really aggressive long, the same play that you guys have been seeing me take through last week, off of these 520s. That would be filling these buy orders down here, cracking below VWAP, and then continuing to the upside. Really aggressive, right? And this is pretty volatile to just jump right in with a tight stop loss. So it's a dicey play. We do have, again, that's what I have marked down here, 5,800s. Liquidity all the way down to this level, but I could try it. What I think I'll wait for is a crack down here, maybe a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of a reaction, just to say, hey, we're not going to continue to knife through VWAP here. But I am looking long on this pretty quick into the open. It's only about 10 minutes. If you guys watch me trade, I like to hang out with you for a little bit, let the market open up. I'm not a big fan of getting involved in the first 15 minutes. Just algos and gamblers, driving volatility all over the place can be really difficult to work with. It can set you up just for a tough trading session. If you take a couple back-to-back losses, use your capital, and not have anything to trade as the market starts to show its hand, right? And then the easy trades start to set up. That said, I got something pretty quick that is setting up right here. So I'm watching the 20s, the 820s, right? Level of liquidity right around volume weighted average price. I could see a quick bounce back up that would provide a way to manage risk. I would trail stop pretty aggressively. Conversely, if we look to just crack right through that and head towards the 5,800s, which we might do, I would be out for an L, but I'm going to consider this one. I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch for right now. Watch. Considering long towards this level, but it would be, I don't know that I'm in the mood for a super aggressive buying on selling pressure. I might have to wait a little bit. I don't like the before 9:45 a.m. time frame, but every once in a while I get something that sets up like really clearly. This is a setup that I would really like. There we go. Okay, so coming down into the 820s. Let's see what happens down here. Again, I don't know that I'm going to be the first buyer down here as we start to crack VWAP. This could knife pretty aggressively. We do have some volume in these markets, so I want to be a little cautious. Yeah, 815s have liquidity as well. I think we could see it right off the 820s, and maybe if this is just a little bit later into the session, I'm jumping into this. But do I want to be the first buyer Monday morning, taking a quick stop out? Probably not. I think I'm going to have to watch what happens past these 820s. Maybe the 815s and then a turn, or the 820s and then a turn to the upside. This could be a little bit of iceberging because we've been hanging out here for a minute. We got some, oh no, not too much volume traded. Kind of just hanging out right here, trading the 821s, 820 and a halves. Watching this play out on bookmap. Yeah, this that looks like some iceberging there at 820s. Buyer stepping in, getting involved. We can even see some above it. That's interesting. Came down into it, traded into it multiple times. We actually had some volume fill, and then we have now we got a little bit lightening up. Someone playing around at the 820s. Anyway, yeah, again, wild markets, right? Wild markets. If you're gonna do anything today, and you're gonna take anything away from hanging out with me on stream, structure your risk, right? Decide where your stop loss is going to go. and how much you're going to risk to that stop loss, and accept that on the front end, man. We are dealing with this, this type of movement, right? This is wild, right? This is very wild. And if you are in a trade not really expecting it to go one way or the other, or really convinced that, you know, it's going to play out in your direction, this can be really tough to deal with, right? So that's on the board for today and any day in these markets. You know, so structure your risk, right? Always utilize a stop loss. Define your limits. What's your max daily loss limit? What's your max daily profit target? You know, if you want to run a max daily profit target, if you're on a consistency based account, you know, what do you want to limit yourself to the downside and upside, and accept that and say, as I put this trade on, I think this is really important. I know that this can rocket to the stop. I know that my setup is here, my edge is present, but I don't know what's going to happen next, and I don't need to make money. What I do need to do is accept that that's the fact. I don't know with 100% certainty what's going to happen next, and that's why I use a stop loss. Whatever that number is, I better be ready to take that. You know, take that on the chin. Yeah, 820s to 800. It's not too far of a jump. I could see a bounce here from VWAP. I don't know that I want to take it so damn aggressively. This doesn't look terrible. We didn't fill the 820s. If we filled the 820s and we had this pop up coming into the 9:45 a.m. time frame, I wouldn't mind it. I'm going to wait for one more crack down below to potentially look to aggressively take this long for the bounce off of VWAP. If we get it here and we crack to the upside 25 points, that's the opportunity. We're not going to fill. Yeah, it looks like we might try that. You know, we're not going to fill these levels, at least for the initial bounce, if we bounce at all. And, you know, the trade idea isn't validated. But I'm looking long on this. Potential buyers to step back in, try to hold this for maybe some bullish movement to the upside. But we could be looking at a sell-off back down towards the 800s, right, or lower. We are way, way high when we compare what happened overnight. You know, with this gap up, we can come down to fill that gap. You know, this is anything can happen market. So I'm gonna wait for my setups, take them as I see fit, but fully recognize that this could be a wild ride today. This could absolutely be a wild ride today. But we'll see what the market's got for us. What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up? What's up? Appreciate you guys hopping on. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to another week here, man. Thanks for being here. Smash like, smash subscribe. You don't have to do anything, as I always say. Free means free, man. Do whatever you want. Let's see. So we cracked the 820s. Cracked the 820s. We still got buyers hanging out there. Or, you know, book is still pretty thick to the downside. Again, I use bookmap in a pretty dumb guy way. Order flow. I look for big levels of liquidity. And I anticipate that we come down into that. What happens if it's the last level and there's not a whole lot below it? Maybe we find some buyers there and bounce if it's down below price, especially if it lines up with market structure, price action, volume tools on my chart, kind of like it does today. Yeah, we're really hanging out here. It looks like sellers want to take it through these levels. I'm curious to see if we see a lot of volatility to the downside and we get kind of a big knife that starts to print, or maybe we start to bounce from here. We're really hesitating, kind of hanging out. Sellers couldn't rip our face off yet. I'm not going to get involved from right here just yet. I think it's really aggressive, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of that knife. 17 minutes into the open, you know, we're past kind of that initial craziness, right? Like this stuff right here, first couple minutes of 9:30 open. But we got liquidity right down to the 15s. I would have liked to see a nice dip into that and then a pullback up. I would definitely be long. I might try it still aggressively long down here. You know, we couldn't just blast through it. I'm not going to take it long above the 15s with 150 lots on the book there getting filled. I think that would be silly to do. But I'm looking long. Probably one ES, 10-point stop, $500 worth of risk for an initial trade. Yeah, that would put my stop all the way down towards the 805s if I got a good entry. And I think if we continue to sell off, we're coming through the 800s and potentially lower before we do anything else. Comes a little bit of buyer stepping in again. Kind of chopping right at VWAP. Not a whole lot. Pull back to VWAP and chop. That's what I got so far for this. Let's see. Do we bounce here without hitting? We could. We definitely could. Yeah, right off of VWAP. Looks like it might be the play again today. Yeah, I'm cautious of taking this too aggressively right here. I'd like to see liquidity fill, and that would still be really aggressive, but at least I'd have some comfort to say, all right, buyers have stepped in, and here we go to the upside. But this looks like we might want to try it here, and I think if we do continue the upside, we could return to the 850s very quickly, right, from the 825s, off of VWAP through this level of these areas of low volume, right? Where we kind of quickly move to the downside through. Could see that to the upside. We got some building. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, didn't grab my, really didn't grab everything at the 820s, man. Came through it initially. We had some come back on. But that's the initial level I was looking at. We'll see how that plays. Looks like that one might be the one that pays today. So far, would be, yeah, approaching that 1-to-1. Take a look and see what we get from down here. Again, crazy overnight session. Wild open to the week. Huge gap up, huge volatility in pre-market. I think we got a long week ahead. I don't always feel like I have to be the first buyer on a Monday morning, slamming the button. Of course, I'm enthusiastic about the markets, right? I want to get into trading, but if there's ever a time to exercise a little bit more patience, right? Really make sure you are waiting for your setup to come. I think it's during periods of high volatility, especially right around a wild open. So not an insane movement out of this so far. Pull back to VWAP and then a nice bounce would be pretty clean, actually. Yeah, I could see this thing on one more swipe down below this area and then buyers stepping in. I would definitely look long on it. I'm not going to take it from up here. We are finding some support down here. This could definitely be buyers stepping in, taking it to the 850s again through this area. Just didn't get the really aggressive kind of swipe down below, clean out liquidity that's sitting right here before move to the upside. So I'm not convinced that we just move higher on this. So I'm going to keep myself out. Looks like bullish move off of VWAP, but I'm not going to make that my first trade. If we do come higher without pulling back down, it's going to negate kind of an aggressive long play off the open here. And I'll just be waiting for next setup, but I'm not going to take it from up here with a stop loss right below this level. I think we come down here potentially and sweep below. Again, watching levels on bookmap. But this would be really clean right off of the 820s, right? That initial level that I was watching. Just not clear enough with the way that orders were really seeming to be fed onto that and then continuing to have more stack up down below at the 815s. Here we go, pushing off of VWAP to the upside. Do we continue right here all the way back up to 850s? I think this is a good shot for that. Good morning, good morning. Trump talking right now. Oh, here we go. Trump's talking right now. Oh, man. Is he? Is he, Ryan? I know we got, let's see, 825 FOMC member is speaking. Let's see. Is it scheduled? Unscheduled? Again, guys, I really don't like... I like to be aware of what's going on. I don't utilize this... I don't utilize any type of, like, I think somebody's going to say something, so I'm going to trade a certain way. Yeah, this could be a wild ride if that dude's yapping. Yeah, he's live now. Oh, yeah, we could be in trouble, guys. I'm still going to trade, right? I'm still going to watch, you know, for my setups to present themselves, put trades on. Yeah, these 820s would have paid a little aggressive right at the 8:15, right at the 9:50, right at the 9:45 a.m. mark, really early into the open, but that would have definitely paid nicely to the upside. Just a little too aggressive, not filling everything that was down here on the book. But this looks like we are pushing off really cleanly from VWAP, maybe back towards the 850s. This area that we consolidated at, obviously a key level that came into play. Temporary volume point of control if I zoom out right here. I think to the upside, if we're going to crack higher, that's what we're going to go check out next. So not a bad play to the upside. But this could be a wild ride. Chat's let me know that we got Trump talking live right now. I would have a stop loss in place. I would structure your risk for sure. Any comment can really send the market aggressively. We actually have volume ticking to the upside here. This could be a wild ride, kind of like what we saw last week, man. Just a lot of volatility based on that. Based on what we get out of that administration. But that's the markets that we're in, man. Got to learn to trade with it, deal with it, right? Otherwise, you keep yourself out of everything. I don't think that's a great way to go about it, but you can definitely be cautious. You can definitely exercise, you know, good risk management by structuring your risk, predefining it, accepting it on the front end, you know, saying, I'm happy taking this stop loss because I don't know what the heck's going to happen next. So let's see what we get. Crack to the upside, pull back down. Yeah, even like the algos today are kind of quiet. Like we don't really have the liquidity bands around ES, which is kind of interesting. Looking on the and maybe they're there, but it's just so much other liquidity is on the book that they're kind of being overlapped here. Here we go. Pull back down and then crack to the upside. This is going to look really good for a long. Do we sweep this low again and come and hit that level that I was being cautious of, the 815s? That's what it looks like we want to do. Do we turn and burn to the 800s? I got a feeling I'm just going to be a little bit more cautious on this one, guys, rather than trying to scalp away, because this could get dicey quick. Ryan says, prescription drugs announcement deal. 30 to 80% reduction in cost. Big news there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm watching this 815 level, guys. I like that for an aggressive long, and I think if we crack that, we're headed way down. Like we're gonna crack the 800s to the downside and really pull back. We might have that today. It could get interesting pretty quick here. It could get ugly pretty quick here. Are we up near CME price limits? Hang on, guys. Hang on. We got something else. Let me wake up, man. I might need to go get another cup of coffee. No, we are okay. We're okay. So ES is 2%, 2.6% up on the day. NQ is 3.26, 3.23 up on the day. Now, top one futures that I'm on here, if you guys aren't aware, this is top one futures on Project X, does not have a hard price limit rule. But the price limits for ES and NQ are 7%. If we approach them on Top Step within 5% of a CME price limit, we could be in for trouble, right? Seems like they exit you I was aware that it was a hard breach rule, but I don't think that it is based on what I've seen. But you do get limited around that 2% of a CME price limit. But we're not near that. I thought we might be further away. Not near that yet. Start to turn to the downside, turn to the upside. We'll get moving. Let's see, man. Yeah, kind of chopping right back down around VWAP here. This would have paid if I was super aggressive off the 820s. I'm going to be hard-pressed to take it right here on a day like today, right at the open. But that would have paid to the upside for sure nicely. And it looks like even if I trailed, I kind of go back and take a look at what these would have looked like. Looked like even if I trailed to the upside as we moved into the profit, the way that you see me do, I probably wouldn't have been stopped. I would have at least been able to catch that nice crack to the upside. So that wouldn't have been a bad one. Just a little bit aggressive right off the open. Bounced off VWAP, pulling back down. Do we run the downside here, man? I'm still watching it off the 815s. I think we could get really aggressive to the downside, but I might take this if we swipe down here, then we start to see some rejection and a movement back up to the upside. Again, we got Trump talking live, so this could really get dicey either way. Here's the 10 a.m. close and open of a new candle. That 10 a.m. hourly is definitely a reason for some volatility, along with 10:30 and 11 for sure, right? Yeah, man, the book is thick here. This could get dicey. But that's good. We like volatility. We like to have some fun here, right? A lot getting fed on the book right down below this price, man. Obviously, you could watch buyers stepped in. We bounced from around this level, around the 820s. You can see what happens as we approach this, right? We came off of it quickly, came back down to it quickly. Transactions taking place, volume being traded at VWAP here. Volume weighted average price right around this temporary volume point of control, right? Area of high volume. I'm cautious to get too aggressively long on this morning. I'm going to watch the 815s for a crack below and then some buyers to step in for a really aggressive long back up towards the 850s. Not saying, hey, this thing's going to break and run to the upside, but just that we may take everybody out, chopping around down here to the downside, pull back up to the 850s, decide what we want to do if we pull back up there. But we now have 100 on the book, which looks like a decent stack outside of the 815s. We have 100 on the book at the 845s, headed back up towards that area of high volume. So let's see what we get down here. Yeah, seller's not taking it lower, not just yet. Conversely, if we don't come lower at all, we start to crack on this again. I could see this being a nice formation where buyers just are not going to let this thing move very far below VWAP. We are going to push the highs here. So I could consider taking it higher from here as well, right? Aggressively long on the push lower. Or if we start to just continue to push up, kind of like we're doing right now. Putting a little bit of a double bottom in here. Yeah, wanting to crack back up off this VWAP. This is interesting. Couldn't fill this 815, man. Yeah, I would love to see this fill down here and then this move start to happen. I'd be long. We couldn't get the fill of 815. This looks like it might be it. I'm tempted to try it long from up here. Stop loss just below for a continuation of the upside. It's just been too choppy down here, and we have liquidity sitting down here. So on another day, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You know, here's bookmap, favorite order flow tool. If you guys don't know, I'm partnered affiliated with bookmap. Can't stand to be unbiased if I stand to make money. But this is what I'm looking at. We've had this on the book down here. Obviously, a level of buyers down below. If this wasn't here or we came down into it, filled on one of these little pullbacks and then started to bounce, I'm definitely looking long. I'm just cautious above this level. Obviously, the 800s and now down to the 802s. What does that look like? 802.5. We do have liquidity. Big round number there. I wouldn't mind an aggressive long anticipating, hey, we're either going to bounce here and head back up to the 850s, or we're going to crack lower really aggressively and go check out the 800s. where we really have, liquidity down to that area and then nothing below. Big round psychological number, totally could be reasonable to move that. But outside of that, I just don't know about long right off this with this right below. We are holding VWAP, which is a key level, but I'm utilizing bookmap and order flow for this as well. And if I'm going to be aggressive, I need everything to kind of line up to say, okay, now I'm going to be really aggressive and I'm happy to take a stop loss on it. That type of deal. So let's see what the market has for us. How can I get the giveaway? You can hang out here, and it is random days, random times. I've been giving away multiple straight to funded 50K accounts, and that will continue. From Pakistan, I don't know if you are eligible to trade with Top 1 Futures. I would check the, in their frequently asked questions, they have a list of countries that are prohibited from trading with them. Check that for sure. Done for the day. Awesome, man. Large gap but down below. Yes, there is a large gap. We have a gap up situation today, a large gap down below current price right now. Yes, sir. My Project X used to show a progression bar for personal daily profit target, personal daily loss limit. It's not showing now. Is there a setting to turn that on or off? Or is that an update affecting everyone? I am not 100% sure. I remember it showing when we had daily loss limits, and if I ever set a personal daily loss limit, personal daily profit target, I remember that showing a progression bar. Ralph, I would make sure you go to settings, update it, save, and hit refresh on the entire thing and make sure that is showing. Damn, support off VWAP, man. Not going to sweep this liquidity. I think we're going to go. And if we chop here so many damn times, I don't know that I want it down below. This is just kind of choppy price action. It's not super clear. Not a nice initial sweep of liquidity and, my level being hit and then a continuation. Chop above and then starting to push off. This doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad to try it, but we would have failed here, obviously, right? We didn't quite sweep this low. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take this one, guys. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to watch this. I want to see these 815s. We've got too much down here be hit. I think we can absolutely pull off double bottom from VWAP. This looks nice. If you want an aggressive play, long to the upside here, I think does make sense. If you are, bearish, stop loss, up above this level, up into the 840s. But, following the situation that we're in right now and buyers holding VWAP, I could see this to the upside. It's just not a good setup. If I'm utilizing levels down here, a sweep down below these lows from pre-market, right around the 815s where we got a lot of liquidity would be better for me. Clearer invalidation point to say, okay, we took everything out. Now, if we continue lower, I think we're ripping to the 800s, pretty damn quickly. Right here could be a real clear situation where we get long here, one more sweep down below, take Zach and, whoever else is getting long out before continuing to the upside. And I don't like that. If I'm wrong, I really want to be like dead wrong. I want price to continue moving in the direction where I'm just completely on the wrong side of the market. I really like to try to avoid those wick out, by a point and then continue. You can't always avoid them, obviously, but I think you can do a decent job of attempting to do that if you're paying attention to clear levels, especially from order flow, from bookmap. And that would be the 815s that we just didn't get taken this morning. Anyway, let's take a look, man. We got, might be a no trade for me due to levels being effed. Yeah, man. Crazy, right? Crazy market structure price action when we push to the upside. That could be super tough. Could go either way until we test London and New York Open. Chopping to the middle of those two. Absolutely, right? We're chopping a VWAP. Not a lot of movement out of this. We came right back to the volume weighted average price. We've been hanging out here. This is our session, right? 9:30 from up here. Immediate pullback and then just back and forth, hanging out here, right at VWAP. So not super directional. Again, I got a setup that I was looking for long. The 820s would have paid. That was just a little bit too aggressive for me. A little bit early in the session as well, but I'm gonna watch to see what happens down here. Thanks, no problem, man. Look at bearish the rest of the day unless he says something that makes the market go haywire. Oh yeah, that's that's probably gonna happen at a certain point, right? Somebody's gonna say something that makes the market go haywire. That's what we've been dealing with. So let's see what we get here. We got some selling pressure right there on that candle. Appreciate you guys hopping on. More and more people every damn day. Thank you for being here. If you're new, my name's Zach. I trade live here on YouTube almost every damn day. I run a free community. I'm active across socials. I've been cranking out YouTube videos, talking about trading, technical analysis, prop firms, everything in between. Feel free to subscribe, check that stuff out. A little bit more about me, just so you kind of know who I am, who I'm not. Don't claim to be the best trader. I don't claim to know everything, have it all figured out, have some magic strategy that you can just use and make a whole bunch of money. I still make mistakes. I'm a normal guy. I'm happy to show you what trading looks like for me here almost every damn day, so you can make a decision for yourself. If you want to listen to me, you want to fade me, you want to say that guy's an idiot and I just want to hang out and grab his giveaways, more than happy to have you here, man. But that's why I love to trade live on here, to show you what that looks like for me, right? Last week, just to review, week before took a top step payout. Last week was just really back and forth. I've been trying to make some progress in these damn top one futures accounts. It's been back and forth. Last week was 2 red days and 3 green days, but all really small, ending small green, like $600 or $800 in the top 1 accounts, just really floating around break even. Talked about that on Friday, man, where a day like that would have sent me. A Friday like that really would have been a tough one for me to not tilt on. Bouncing off a VWAP again here, man. Sorry, guys. I'm staring at the chart as I'm talking. But yeah, talking about that, like, we all want to make progress, right? We all want to make money. We all want to get towards a payout. We want to push it. Sometimes the market, it's not like, hurting us. It's not killing us. We're making little small progress, but it doesn't give us, the setups that we really need, and it doesn't work out in our favor the way that we want to make a big profit. Kind of like what I got going on here again this morning, where we're just kind of sitting here. What that used to look like for me is I would wait patient, and maybe I would trade patient all morning, and then I just wouldn't get setups, or I'd be break even, and then I would just start to just gamble, right? Just start to YOLO it. Or on a day like Friday, right, where ending the week like just small green, almost break even, I'd be like, man, I was at the charts all day, all week long, focused. I did my review, and I watch all these other guys with these big green P&Ls and posting payouts, and I'm just gonna start pushing it. Right? I want to make some progress, and I'd rather, like, just make money or forget about it. And how that usually ends is just a blown account, right? Your edge is not present. You're trying to push it. You don't have opportunity in the market that the market's providing for you. You're just trading and gambling, hoping that you make progress. And it's a nightmare situation to be in. It's really a death sentence. I can't tell you how many more traders there would be that were making money if they just didn't do that. So, as frustrating as that can be sometimes and just kind of slow moving, happy to demonstrate what that looks like for me. Try to demonstrate good risk controls to not do that, unless that's part of your plan at a certain point to get aggressive. But yeah, it can be tough. And these markets have been difficult to work with. I think if you're ending up making a little bit of money or break even, great job. You're doing well for yourself. Don't let that small green or break even turn into just a blown account because you're frustrated. The market didn't give you something, right? Market doesn't owe you anything. Doesn't care about you either here in your sim funded account. But it definitely doesn't owe you anything. So wait patiently, wait for your setups to come. If they don't hit, just chill out, there's going to be opportunity, and save that capital for when there actually is opportunity to put risk on. Bouncing off of VWAP again, not continuing lower. This does look like we want to go. Yeah, along with that, I just watched so many guys lose it on Friday. So many just blow it on Thursday, Friday. Looks like we want to start to push towards the 850s again, man. Didn't sweep the levels that I was looking at. Didn't hit the area that I exactly wanted. We just tapped the 820, but even here we had a ton of liquidity getting fed back on. So that wasn't really encouraging to even look at this really aggressively. 815s had a lot on the book right down here as well. So for those reasons, not just long off of VWAP, in the first 12 minutes of the session, um, just too aggressive on a day like today. Chopped around here, bounced, pulled back down, bounced again, break and retest and continue. This looks pretty decent as we really came right back up on this candle with some decent volume to the upside. It looks like a long play to me, but just not a good way to structure risk on this. Not getting my level hit, so stuck sitting patient, man. Facts. Yeah, I gave it all back on Friday. Yeah, there we go. That's me. Yeah, listen, that's why I talk about this stuff. Tilt is no joke. Yeah, I mean, guys, like we're all on the same journey, right? We're not all going to struggle from the same thing. We're all going to be different. But that's why I talk about that stuff, man. And again, I just want you to think, what if you like forget having a better entry or anything like that? What if you just didn't tilt? What if you just didn't blow it and you ended Friday with no trade, with just break even or small green, a couple $100, right? Um, you'd probably, or a lot of you would be working your way towards consistent payouts and making money trading, right? It's this boom and bust cycle, and I think a lot of it can come from either fear of missing out or fear of not making progress or frustration of being here and just not getting the setup. And I feel that, right? I still feel that, and that's definitely an area for me personally that was tough in the past. The market's moving all day, every day, and in these markets it moves a lot, and we just are watching every tick to the upside and downside as this opportunity to make money. And I think if you can start to just reframe it and say, my job is not to catch the entire move, it's not to catch every move, it's to chill out, wait for my setup to be hit, take it aggressively, right? Like you watched me do. Maybe take a loss, then take a win, take multiple wins, take multiple losses, whatever it is. But if it's not there, or I just take L's or I take break even, if I go on past that when nothing's there for me and I just start trading, I'm not trading. I'm just gambling. I'm hoping, wishing. I don't have an edge. I'm just hoping that it plays out in my favor. And that's not a sustainable way to do it. It's not a consistent way to do it. And so many guys fall into that trap, man. So many. So it's tough. It's tough. Tough to do. But again, talked about that. And for me, I don't know why specifically. Everybody has something different. For me, like, it wasn't like a lot of red would do it to me, or like, decent green or back and forth, or the back and forth or like the break even for too long, I would start to get anxious, or the no trade for too long, I'd start to get anxious and I would start to get frustrated and I would want to put something on. I'd want to make progress and then I would force it. And when I would go back to look at that trade or that trading day, there was nothing there. There was literally nothing there. And I did everything right up until that point, until I started trading where there was nothing there. And I always looked back and go, well, man, what would I have given to just be break even, right? And usually what happens is, and even worse to describe it, you get into one of those trades, right? You start with the first one, you take an L or 2 L's, and what do you tell yourself? Oh man, if I could just get back to break even, I'd stop. I'm just going to take one more. I shouldn't have taken that first one. And now if I just get back to break even where I was, I'll be happy, I'll feel good, and I'll just end it. And if you just didn't do that in the first place, you could end it the right way. So it comes down to focusing on the process, focusing on just taking your setups, waiting patiently. If there's nothing there for you, there's nothing there for you. If you're break even, if you're back and forth, be thankful that you're not big red, right? But those unnecessary losses, those tilt days, man, those are the killers. Those are the killers. I watch so many guys with so much experience in the market, great reads, better traders than I am, right? When it comes to actually entering and managing trades, but they spiral. They spiral for one reason or another, not making enough, losing, making too much and then getting overconfident. And you just got to stay right down the middle. You got to keep doing what you're doing. I've been really watching that more recently in the futures market and prop firms as the killer, man. That boom and bust cycle, the one tilt day. It's this beautiful consistency, right? Nice and small, slow, and then something happens. There's a trigger. A couple losses, a couple wins, or wins back to break even, or for me, maybe in my case, where it was just too much nothing, not enough of progress, or even some losses. And that trigger can be a killer. So what's the actionable step? Identify what that is for you. Dear the good Lord, if you're on Project X and you struggle, use the risk parameters, man. Use the personal daily loss limit. Set it to liquidate and block, and lock yourself out from changing it every day. Use the simple tools that are available to us, man. So that's my rant for today. That's my rant for today. Thoughts on one trade a day? Yeah, one trade a day is beautiful, man. If you're struggling, right? If you're struggling with any of that type of stuff, over trading, tilt, find ways to limit yourself, right? You have no business doing more if you can't do less first, right? Like if you can't handle what you're doing, start limiting yourself until you can start to find some consistency, right? That's the way to go. Size down, slow down. All that. I've not blow it, but I could be a lot of days without trading. I need a little bit of action to have more data. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. 100%. This is so true. I still need to get rid of these bad habits. Yeah, man. And again, a couple things can help, right? Like, because you guys got good comments, and I see people starting to jump in that that don't usually talk. So I appreciate you guys being here, man. That's the big differentiator. That's why I talk about this stuff and yap about it on here, and I wish more people did. Everybody's very focused on the entry, the setup. I talk about the market all day. I'm watching this one do nothing, by the way, as I'm talking about mindset and psychology. I don't have a setup. I don't have a setup to the upside. I don't have a setup to the downside. This was chop around VWAP, no level hit to the downside, and that's why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. $19.40. I can go get some Chipotle. Anyway, if you can build discipline to trade once a day, be unstoppable. If I have a really good or bad day, I take it to the next day. I take the next day off to reset mentally. Absolutely. Long-term as a trader, unstoppable. Absolutely. I agree with all of that, guys. Here's some stuff for me that helped. Number one, read all the mindset and psychology books. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, Best Loser Wins by Tom Hogard, Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler, and a whole bunch more. They give you a really, really good understanding of the market, right? Because if you don't understand the game of probabilities that we're playing, the randomness on the short term, you're kind of doomed from the start. So that's like the understanding, right? That's the theory. Now, how do you bring that into action with you? What Ryan and some of you guys are saying, create a really clear plan first, really clear risk management plan. Use the tools, within the platform that you're trading with, Project X, risk management. How much do you want to stand to lose per day? What's your worst case? How many trades per day are you going to take? Use the risk parameters that you can to help you stick to that. And then along with that, build some discipline. Build some discipline off the charts in other areas of your life, right? I don't know if you guys know me or watch the interviews and the podcast. I am an endurance athlete. I run ultra marathons, right? I don't brag about that. I'm not a great runner. I am disciplined in other areas of my life. I do things that scare the hell out of me to be able to conquer that. I take myself through overcoming limiting beliefs to build confidence in what I can do. But I make promises to myself and I try to keep them to the best of my abilities, right? I build discipline in other areas so I can have it on the charts here when money's on the line and it's like the hardest time to have it. And I ask guys that tough question. If you don't have discipline in any other area of your life, and this is hard to talk about, right? But if you are completely undisciplined in any other area of your life, why in God's good name do you think you would have discipline when money's on the line and it's 10x as hard? You're not, man. So maybe it's not running marathons or ultra marathons, but it's, simple stuff, right? Reading when you're supposed to reading, journaling every single day, treating trading like a business, going to bed and waking up at a specific time, right? Eating healthy, going on a walk, like just basic stuff to build discipline in other areas of your life so you can build it on the charts. But if you have no discipline over here at all, to say, I'm going to have all the discipline over here where we are trying to battle managing finances in the markets, where it is so difficult and it triggers all of our emotions and plays on all of the wrong parts of us as a human, it becomes very hard. Even here in these little sim-funded, prop accounts, right? It's difficult, right? It's difficult. But certainly as you continue to scale, as you size up, as you copy trade multiple, as you trade huge live accounts, whatever that means for you, because everybody's in a different spot financially, it's difficult, man. So those are the areas, right? I got kind of three pieces there. Read, understand, right? Create the really really clear foundation of what the hell you're doing here, create a plan, serious, clear plan with put processes in place that you're going to follow. Risk management, first and foremost, man. Very clear risk management plan that you're going to stick to for a large sample size. Consistency and clarity on how you're actually going to approach the markets, right? That is important. And then third, work on your mindset. Maybe it's meditation, prayer, like, creating some damn discipline off the charts and clarity that you are going to bring to the charts. All of those things. But if you're just buying prop accounts without doing any of that, it's going to be a tough road, man. It's going to be a really tough road. So that's my thought process, guys. That's my thought process. If this was me with the price action, we'd be looking at, now I'd place about 5 trades. Yeah, dude. No, I know. I know, right? I feel it's back and forth here. Build discipline first. It's everything, or you can't make this a career for sure. And blow the account so bad. Yeah, take 5 trades, blow the account. I feel you. Calmness. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Period. Gets dicey. Gamble and tilt. Don't follow your discipline rules. Yeah, man. If you tilt, if you find yourself tilting, if you find yourself struggling to stick to a risk management plan, or you're struggling to not control your emotions, but feel them, understand them, have a lot of emotional awareness, and then create different responses to them. Like if you struggle with that, I encourage you to focus on that first and foremost. And I find most guys are asking questions and focusing on strategy. When to enter, when to exit, which is important. You need an edge in the market. Mindset's not going to help you if you don't have an edge. But what I find is a lot of guys are experienced. They're years and years in, and they're still struggling because they're blowing up on tilt after trading well. Meanwhile, they don't do anything to address that. They're not focused on it at all. They sweep it under the rug, and they're focused on the next indicator, the next tool to add to their chart, how to improve something. And they're not focusing on the huge elephant in the room, more better strategy, more tools are not going to save you from blowing up on tilt. If you can't control yourself, you don't have discipline, you don't have a plan to stick to. So it comes from this, multiple areas, right? Confidence in your system, confidence in your strategy. But at a certain point, man, market's going to test you. You're going to take some L's. You're going to do everything you're supposed to do, and it's just going to backhand you, right? You watch it do it to me live often. Or you're going to make a mistake, right? You're not going to be perfect. And you're going to have the option to really do catastrophic damage. And that's where so many guys keep themselves at that break even or unprofitable level, man. And I tell you, it's one of the hardest things for me personally, for sure. That's where it's tough. So this was a good conversation though, man. Good conversation. Yeah, I'd encourage, find a hobby, a sport, something outside of trading, or just anything that you can add to your schedule. Set a goal, make a promise to yourself. If it's to read, if it's to journal, if it's to review your trades at the end of every day, it could be so small, man, right? So small, and stick to that. Because whatever you're doing is going to be positive, and the keeping the promise to yourself and building that discipline and doing it over and over again is going to spiral. I can't tell you, like, on days where I don't do what I'm supposed to do, it carries throughout the day, right? I talk about that all the time. This is the bigger mindset talk that, where we're kind of talk about, but I think that stuff is important, man. It's difficult. It's definitely difficult. Back to the markets. We're watching this thing chop around VWAP. No continuation to the upside. Went and checked out the 840s all the way back down. Now, I don't like this thing long right here, right now. After now we failed to move higher. I wanted it long as we came down. And again, this is kind of what we're talking about, where I just don't have a clear setup here. I liked, that if we hit the 815s and started to aggressively continue to the upside. Now we chopped around here multiple times, consolidated, kind of still formed some uptrend structure, but we're coming down through these lows with volume. This is dicey. I don't want to be the first one in. I want to watch what happens around here. A sell to the downside towards the 800s looks like it could have been the play. There was some opportunity off the 820s. There could have even been some opportunity right here to get in long and ride that to the upside right there with a stop loss. Maybe just down below this level. I don't know, that really wouldn't have provided a one-to-one, even just a stop loss right below the consolidation. So not a whole lot of opportunity out of this. I know that this is the open, but this is kind of what we saw for the entire first part of this session. Not a whole lot of movement. Choppy, right? Rangy, but not hitting the levels. I'll play off the range, but not really hitting the levels that I need to see. Watching 850s up here and the 815s down here. So let's see what happens as we start to sell off to the downside here. Got some volume being traded on that bad boy. Second highest amount of volume traded on a 1-minute candle for the entire session. This could get ugly towards that 800 level. Here we are at the 815s, the initial level that I was watching. I'm not jumping in aggressively here. Again, it's not at all not the play with this type of structure. And again, I'm stuck waiting. You know, I'm stuck waiting here. Yeah, chop around VWAP. Buyers bounced it a couple times. Then we came through down to the 815s. I don't think that this is a smart move right now. That's not it, as the kids say. Looking at my little 10-point stop, 10-point take profit. I think it would just be really aggressive buying into selling pressure after we consolidated. This could be the sweep below this low and then continuation. You know, that's the thought process here, but I think I'd have to take it from somewhere lower as we come through some levels of liquidity. Again, if we do start to come lower, I think the 800s. Ooh, that was wicky right there, huh? Yes, this could get ugly. A lot of volume on that one. Very fast wick down a few points. A lot of liquidity to the downside at the 800s. Not a ton to the upside. I'm going to wait for the 800s to take anything aggressively long. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Huge round psychological number. You know why? Framing the trade idea ahead of time so you guys know exactly what the heck I'm doing. You can watch it play out for a win or a loss. 200 on the book down here, almost 200. Continuing to play to the downside. Sellers obviously taking this thing lower. Very negative cumulative volume delta running this from before the open. I'd be looking at a clean out of this level. Could get pretty gnarly to the downside right below it. We could see some follow through, but I'd look at an aggressive sweep below this 5,800 to take an aggressive long for a bounce, right? Big stack of buy orders sitting on the book. Not a whole lot down below that price would want to run to the downside. So that gives me some confidence to try it off this key level for a move back towards VWAP, just a normal pullback up. If we continue to make structure, like really clear downtrend structure into that level, I'm not going to get it. I like the really impulsive move to the downside, trying to catch an impulsive bounce back up to the upside if I'm going to be counter to the move to the downside like this. I don't like it short from down here because I don't know where else we head. We could be headed down to fill that gap really, really aggressively. This could be on some geopolitical news. Could be a number of different things down here, but I'm going to look at this aggressively long. Not a whole lot of risk. I'm comfortable putting on $1,000, which is going to be 2 minis with about a 10-point stop. I'm going to run this similar to how I was running it last week with 1. If we come and hit this aggressively. If we bounce here, come all the way back up, and then come down, I don't like it as much, obviously. I want the nice impulsive move. Try to catch the first bounce. Really aggressive entry at the level, not waiting for a lot of structure or price action to tell me to jump in. I think this thing would be pretty far extended to the downside and due for a pullback. But let's see. Do we get the setup or do we pull all the way back up to VWAP here? You know, do we bounce 20 points or something? Invalidates the trade, you know, in which case I have to wait patiently. Excuse me. Again, happy that I kept myself out of everything up here long that I was looking at. This would have sucked. The only thing that I could say is really aggressively early here, and this is pretty close to that time frame that I don't know that I want to trade. But we did have liquidity down below to the 815s. This one would have paid. This really aggressive entry at the 820s right here on the wick down and then a push back up. Even if I was a couple points late to the party, that would have paid on a bounce for that one. We're going to bounce off the 805 3/4. Maybe. Don't know. Ryan says 5801 then rocket ship. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm looking at, man. We're going to find out. again, I think that's a pretty clear level, right? We're either going to crack the 800s and just, you know, knife to the downside, or we bounce. I'd be surprised if we left 200 lots on the book down there and then just ran the upside. It can absolutely happen. I would have liked to see it continue before this pullback to the downside. I want to see this thing turn, maybe give me that long off that level. If we don't get that, I'm just going to sit patient. Again, be comfortable with the market just not really giving me personally anything based on the way that I'm approaching it every damn day. Not do anything too crazy, but I'm looking long off the 800s. Aggressively long off the 800s. That's going to be my my thought process for this one. Just frame that trade. Let's see if we continue to pull back down to that level. Not something that I would throw a limit order on, but yeah, really a crack right down below that. I'm going to look long on it. I'd want to see a bounce right there. Wouldn't want to see us get past the, you know, the 790s. I think we do that, we're continuing lower. So let's see what the market's got for me. So far, it's been a whole lot of nothing. A lot of nothing. All right, turning back down to the downside. I can still see this bad boy aggressively long. Let's see, let's see. Let's see what we got here, boys and girls. What do you think, chat? Let's get a poll going in the chat. You got a bunch of people in here, man. I don't know. Chopping down here right around the 815s, initial level. Are we gonna go test the 800s? Here, I'm gonna throw a poll in here, man. We'll have some fun. Wow, the market's really just not doing anything too fun for us. Let's go with the up or down poll, and we're gonna go long America or short it to the ground. Let me know what you guys think. Get a little vote going. You think we're headed to the upside here? We're going to go check back into the 850s. This is going to be a pullback, fake out, like we've been seeing so many of these sell-offs into the morning session, pulling all the way back down, taking everybody out that's trying it long based on higher time frame structure, only to like V-shape recovery into the afternoon and, you know, crack the daily high? Or do you think we're selling off? Do you think we're coming back down to, you know, close some of this gap? You think we're like headed back down towards, you know, prior week levels? What are you guys' thought process on this? I'm curious to hear. I like this. I still like it long. I still like it long despite being below VWAP. I like it long off the 800s. Again, I'm waiting for, if I'm going to enter really aggressively, I'm going to wait for a really aggressive level to be tested. Liquidity down to the 800s, staying on the book. That's what I'm going to sit patiently here with you guys for. If we don't get that, we start to just bounce to the upside and go back and chop around VWAP. It's just going to be that kind of back and forth trash movement. You know, maybe you said, hey, aggressively short through VWAP, you know, that's paying you right now all the way to 5,800. I'd say good job. You know, that could look good. Downtrend structure, right? Starting to break, trying to hold to the upside, big bear flag if we are zoomed out, right? Breaking to the downside. And you say, hey man, I think this is going short to 5,800. That's my play. It's not really the way that I'm trading this though. Either. I don't know either, Ralph says. Edmonds, lock myself out for the day. Too tempted to just YOLO. Yep, YOLO. Yeah, lock it up. If you're getting tempted, you just don't have clear direction. Lock it up, man. Beautiful thing on these Top 1 Futures accounts. Again, if you guys aren't aware, this is Top 1 Futures on Project X. You have manual lockout. You can click this button, lock yourself out for the entire day, and just not allow yourself to trade. If you're feeling like market's got nothing for you, you don't even want to have to think about it, have the option to watch the charts and trade, lock yourself out, come back the next day. I think it'd be great for controlling tilt. Down for a bit, then up. Rotate. Okay, there we go. Yeah, long America. 75% are looking long on this. Yeah, I am as well. Not getting a level tested again, man, before we start to bounce. This is dicey, man. Frustrating. 805s, 10 points, 12 points off the 805s. What are we doing, market? What are we doing? Yeah, man, a lot back at the 830s, all the way up here. Left this stuff on the book down below. Yeah, this is just not giving me setups, man, which is okay, right? Friday was an example where I had a couple back-to-back that I aggressively took. And I like to draw that contrast, right? Like when the market sets up, I'm going to jump in, even if it's a quick loss or a quick win, whatever it is, quick break even. And then if it sets up again, like it did, I had to take a quick L, and I was like, dang, man, this is another clear setup. I got to hop into this bad boy. Had to take it. It played out nicely, right? Brought me back to small profit, I think, if I'm thinking correctly. But then again, if there's nothing, I sit patient, ready to aggressively smash the buy or sell button, manage that trade. And if it doesn't do what I'm giving that if-then statement, I don't just FOMO in, right? You don't just randomly hop into the trade and say, well, it didn't do what I wanted it to do, but now I think it's going to do something else, and that has nothing to do with the way that I trade, but I'm just going to do that today. It's not consistent. Not consistent. You can apply some discretion for sure. Yeah, man, here's the bounce. Buyers stepping in on this one. 817, they're stacking orders up just below price, trying to feed this thing higher. Yeah, man, this could be it. This could be the pullback and then continuation. This might be all that we see, leaving the 5800s, the 15s being tested, but really not respected really well. Yeah, had I entered something really aggressively as we started to come lower, that might have stopped me out like to the tick, but maybe survived. Back to VWAP, man. Yeah, choppy. Long America, 73%. Is this the push? Ralph says, I think it's going down to 775, then going up aggressively. Yeah. Again, I was waiting for this, this 5800s to be tested, kind of cracked through by a couple points, and then maybe an aggressive recovery. I think that would be pretty sweet. But back to VWAP on this one after pulling back lower. This looks like to me it could be the start. Buyers are not backing off. We got some volume behind this. Orders getting fed below price pretty heavily. Buyers are stepping in on this. But stuff's getting moved around quite a bit on the book. Back to the 825s. Yeah, I'm actually liking this long for a crack through VWAP, man. It's just not good structure, right? Like this, where do I throw a stop on this bad boy? 20 points. I wouldn't run one mini on this. It's kind of tough structure, this one, man. Tough structure on this. I think this could be the push. I think we're coming back up towards the 850s on this. Just the way that this formed, a lot of buyers stepping in. I don't think that this is a break and retest for continuation. The way that this is left on the book down below and the way that buy orders have been getting fed underneath price. I'll show you guys in a minute. If this starts to hold up here, I think we're headed towards 850 quickly. Just not a good way to structure risk. I would run this one kind of unique where I'm going to stick to that 10-point stop with one, and it's going to need to push quickly or pull right back down and stop me out, but it's just not good structure. Is this the V-shaped recovery starting? Back to VWAP with a nice crack to the upside. Finding some, obviously, right? Finding some resistance right here at this area of high volume, right back at VWAP. This is why I utilize these levels on my chart. Not a sweep of the 5800s, but it looks like a lot of that has been moved around to the upside. 1045, a lot right at 830, 835, and now a big stack, 300 on the book, up at 850 sell side. I think we potentially leave this stuff on the book. It just could be dicey to start to try to get involved in the middle of this. I'd have to run a real wide stop loss, and I don't know that I want to. 826. Yeah, here's what I'd look at, gun to my head. Continuation through VWAP. I just not getting good setups, not getting good structure to trade off of on this, guys. I don't think I want to put risk on this. Not clean enough. It's not terrible, but not clean enough. I'm not going to run something like that. I'd have to go to a micro chart and run a really, really wide stop loss. So this is kind of what I'd look at on something like this. Look to manage it as it moves into profit pretty quickly. But it's right at VWAP, just chopping around. So I think I'm going to call this one. I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. No trade session on the live, man. Just not getting the setups, back and forth movement. Some opportunity off of this, but just not a whole lot today, man. So I don't love to have it. Yeah, I'll show you guys bookmap. There we go. Left this on the book down below, right? 802 and a half, 5,800, right? Started to see orders get fed in below, moved around as price came to the upside. That's indicating that, like, you know, market participants, or at least just what we're watching just from a straight technical standpoint, are anticipating this thing moving higher. Buy orders getting fed in, not getting filled. This could be some spoofing because it moved around so damn quickly. And here we go, the 850's off the book. So yeah, this could get dicey. But gun to my head, you know, intuition, discretion-wise, long to 850, but just not good structure, right? Not a good way to structure risk. So, you know, one of those sessions where I'm kind of just stuck hanging out, you know, not getting my levels tested, not getting my levels hit. Good read of the market based on what I'm waiting for, but not a clear way to structure risk, or just not really getting a level that I need hit that would say, if I'm entering at 805 down here on another day, I get smoked because I didn't wait for my level super clear to be hit right here at 800, and I go, what an idiotic move to just jump in before your levels hit, you know, 5, 6, 7 points higher, take a stop out, and then the thing rips in your direction. So just one of those days where I'm just not getting it hit, not getting the entries. Morning, guys. Hope you're feeling great. Yeah, feeling great, man. That's bookmap. Indicators. They can identify choppy range of days. Yeah, price action and market structure, man. That's what I'd be looking at. Really, just price action and market structure to watch it chop around VWAP, around visible range volume visible range volume profile, right? So this is VWAP, volume weighted average price. Sitting right at volume weighted average price would indicate kind of choppy consolidating conditions, and then also just visible range volume profile, right? Are we hanging out like right around the area of high volume? Along with that, just objectively, what are we doing on the chart? You know, what does this structure look like? Up until right here, where we started to form some downtrend structure, this was just pretty damn choppy. So, you know, look at price action, market structure itself. That's always going to help. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. No trade setup for me. I'm super zoomed in, taking aggressive trades on the 1 minute, so this is not going to be common. But I'm happy to demonstrate not FOMOing in or jumping into anything when this market's just not giving me anything to work with. In any event, trade safe today, guys. Trade well. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all your money. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures that I'm on right here. Check it out. Code RDF if you want to check out getting instant funded. No evaluation. Talk to you guys soon. See you guys in Discord. No giveaway today, but giveaways the rest of the week. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of the day.